We're here in the heart of historic Roseville today on a block that has served as a focal point throughout Roseville's 115-year history. Vernon Street is a section of US Route 40 that stretches across the country. This street is anchored to the east by Randy Peters Catering, which is housed in a former, we don't know if it's Pontiac or Buick dealership, but a car dealership. To the west, you have the Losi Affordable Housing apartment building, which is the site of a former gas station. And as you heard Vance say, the city has been going through a renewal process. Across the street is the iconic Roseville Theater. I'm pleased this morning to be joined by my colleagues on the City Council and our community partners whose leadership, continued support, and hands-on approach continue to help guide our city's success year after year. Please join me in recognizing my colleagues on the City Council, Vice Mayor Krista Bernasconi, Councilman Scott Albert, Councilmember Tracy Mendonza. I took those in the wrong order. That's one on the off script for Bruce. Those of you who had the over of 5 of Bruce going off script, that's 1, but now that's actually 2 because I went off script to do that. Councilmember Pauline Ricucci. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to making Roseville more than just an exit on the way to the Sierras, as it once was referred to in the times that Vance was describing. And we're here, we're supported by our families. I want to take a point of personal privilege to recognize my wife, Shelley, for her loving support. It's always good when she doesn't read the script before I say that. All right. And always making sure that my perspective and action is fully thought out. And my son, Harrison, is with us as well today. I'm sure all of us receive input from our spouses, whether we ask for it or not, Richard Ricucci. After all, on a serious note, they love Roseville as much as we do. And while state and federal politics can be partisan shouting matches, that's not Roseville's brand. Since its founding, the Roseville City Council has maintained its nonpartisan focus on serving our community. Or as we take pride in saying at Northern California Water Association, where I work, we're about the fix, not the fight. And that doesn't mean we acquiesce. That means we influence. And you'll hear a little bit more about that later on. Each of us does this job because we care deeply about the legacy we've been entrusted with. We want to keep Roseville on track. And if you just remember those words, on track, because that is the theme today. Our venue here at Goldfield Trading Post is a testament to keeping things on track. The site, as you heard, was a former J.C. Penney store, the hub of retail activity on Vernon Street. It was shuttered for years, but through the city's proactive efforts, it's now a thriving anchor of dining and entertainment on Vernon Street. Next door, Monk's Cellar, where some of you were this morning, will celebrate its 10th anniversary next month. There's lots of things I get to do as mayor, but one of my favorite duties is tapping the first keg at Monk's Oktoberfest. And with the last name Houdesheldt, kind of makes sense, right? This renaissance of our downtown Roseville, this renaissance of downtown Roseville that we're in the midst of today began with a vision of councils a quarter century ago, our Vernon Town Square and our downtown specific plan. I see many familiar faces this morning, but one's notably missing. A good friend and advisor to many here, Aldo Panesi. Aldo was a behind-the-scenes community connector, a leader and champion who lost his battle with cancer in May. Aldo and I shared a love of music. One of my lasting memories of him was last July, right over there against that wall, here at Goldfield, singing the English Beat. Aldo was a private person who frowned on the spotlight. So it surprised me when he told me to tell everyone about his diagnosis. His message to me was to tell the world that he wanted to give cancer a swift kick in the I would say the Italian word, but I'm not Italian. Aldo was prolific, ever present, and supportive of all things Roseville. He's been a key player in many of the successes. Aldo's spirit of quiet and humble leadership should inspire the way we all govern. And I'm pleased that the Placer Business Alliance has honored Aldo's legacy by publishing the calendar that he used to publish as the Aldo Panesi Jr. Community Calendar, and that his daughter Evie will be spearheading that effort. I mean, the Panesis have a long legacy, and the judge and Aldo are just an example of that. Active listening and being open-minded is what Aldo taught us, and taking a thoughtful approach to solutions. Empowering others to share their views, whether they're in synergy with the group or are outliers who have a different perspective on an issue, is what we strive for. This happens every other Wednesday night at City Council meetings. We consider the policy direction, listen to the input from the public, deliberate before making decisions. But it also happens beyond that. In meetings where the city council members represent the city's interest in conversations with our community. We blend perspectives that we bring to our policy. We blend the perspectives that we bring to policy decisions. We're respectful, not divisive in our deliberations. Even when we don't agree on a situation, we make it a point to be open to a range of thoughts and views. Roseville is foremost in our minds and our hearts. Not personal victories, not headlines. That's always been Roseville's strength and brand. Our strong vision keeps us on track. Some may think that Roseville is an overnight success. I met a couple here at the reception who've been here for 2 weeks. I met another person who's been here for 2 months. They said, we'll give it a try out. And they said, we love it. So I've heard those stories. We've all heard those stories. The reality is that Roseville you see today is not an overnight success. It's an overnight success, a half century in the making. While much of the construction may be new, the planning is not. It's a reflection of careful deliberation about what we want to create and revitalizing and grow in our city. That constant and forward motion was symbolized recently by the Union Pacific's big boy locomotive that visited Roseville last month. How many of you were among the 30,000 people who braved the triple-digit weather to come see the world's largest steam locomotive? It's a tribute to Union Pacific's and the railroad's rich legacy and a strong reminder of what we do together through changing times and circumstances to keep Roseville's future on track. I'd like to take this opportunity to celebrate those strides we've made in the last year. Our number one priority in the Council's 4-year strategic plan is to ensure a safe and healthy community. Our police department and fire department lead that charge in keeping Roseville safe. This past year, the Real-Time Crime Center was completed. Its 8-screen video wall allows real-time tracking of incidents in the city and has proven vital to apprehending suspects and keeping officers and the public safe. Officers safe and the public. I want to say keeping officers safe because that's important to us. We have a mobile command post and a SWAT tactical response vehicle to enhance response capabilities and readiness. We obtained a $600,000 grant to fight retail theft. We added more license plate readers, cameras, and launched Operation Grinch last winter and Operation Heatwave, ironically, during the period of triple-digit heat this summer. We had dozens of arrests in multiple jurisdictions and recovered thousands of dollars in merchandise. That put a dent in a problem that has ballooned in our state. We're grappling with that problem on the legislative front as well. Voters will weigh in as they consider Prop 36 in November. It aims to address the rising issues of drug addiction and theft, complicated by the 2014 voter-backed initiative, Prop 47, which lowered penalties for those crimes. And at next week's City Council meeting, the Council will consider formal support for the initiative in advance of the November election. This has already been a busy fire season in our state. Our fire department continues to be a proactive and successful response throughout the city. The fire department improved response times further by putting the Engine 8 crew into service last December, serving Campus Oaks, Blue Oaks, Quail Glen, and beyond. Roseville Station 8 will open this fall, which serves the industrial area west, expanding coverage throughout the city. I want to thank our fire department for their mutual aid support as they've been deployed to fight the Park Fire and others throughout the state, and as staff has been deployed to support FEMA's efforts in disaster zones throughout the country. And let's not forget to thank our digital first responders. Some may remember the CrowdStrike incident just about a month ago. Led by our IT team, which keeps our technology systems operational and secure. This kept critical systems up and running like they did last month, working through the night and weekend during that CrowdStrike incident. They kept our services on track. There it is again, on track. From our 911 dispatch center and our utilities to our traffic cameras and traffic signals. Turning our attention to homelessness, our city remains focused on preventing and addressing homelessness and decreasing associated blight. We dispersed nearly $900,000 in homelessness prevention and rapid response funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. An initiative launched through Placer County in late 2018, known as Community Solutions Built to Zero Initiative, has resulted in permanently housing nearly 600 Placer County residents. It's a clear demonstration of how partners coming together to coordinate critical programs and services to address homelessness can result in big impacts. The Roseville Police Department's Social Services Unit has been using the Roseville Homeless Response Team model. This model has led to over 1,300 individuals securing or maintaining permanent supportive housing in the last year alone. Another key priority is to remain physically responsible in a changing world. I think a week ago the market went zoop. So I know our finance team is vigilant on this as well. By balancing our city services and customer rates and pursuing opportunities to generate more funding, including grant funding for our city. The changes in our world keep coming. Domestic policies and global events, mixed economic signals, political uncertainty. Though our sales tax growth has slowed, we continue to remain in a stable financial position, fully funding our reserves. The budget is the most important policy document that comes before the council each year, and these values are embedded in that document. And I appreciate the countless hours staff invest developing, analyzing, and monitoring our budget. The excellent stewardship of our public funds remains a critical piece of the smooth functioning of our city. This allows us to continue enhancing the economic vitality of Roseville, another priority of our council's strategic plan. We're advancing sports tourism and fostering a business climate that supports small businesses and entrepreneurships, while still welcoming and strengthening tech and other industry sectors. Last summer, we broke ground on the highly anticipated Roseville Soccer Complex, with its completion set for late next year. With 10 fields, the complex will provide a world-class experience for youth and adult sports, including soccer, rugby, lacrosse, Quidditch. No, that doesn't say Quidditch. But there is some quad ball, I think it's called quad ball, and more. And is expected to generate $15 million in annual revenue, economic benefit for our city. The Roseville Venture Lab that many of you walked past on your way here this morning completed its second year of programming and activation last month. And for those of you who are keeping count on the over, here's another one on the over. On Monday night, the Roseville Rising will have a food entrepreneur class. And they told me bring my appetite, which my colleagues at Northern California Water Association know is not an issue. The lab hosted more than 50 programs and events and serviced more than 2,000 participants for the second year in a row. This continues to enhance the awareness that our city engages in innovative partnerships and supports small businesses and entrepreneurship. We continue to successfully support expansion efforts for many businesses such as Penumbra, Quick Quack, Chick-fil-A, and Dutch Bros, while also welcoming new businesses like Alpine Rock Climbing, Electric Pickle for the legions of pickleball aficionados, David Guy, and Fieldwork Brewing, a beer garden and outdoor venue that will host concerts, events, and festivals. And I have not even mentioned, this is number 6 in the over, I have not even mentioned the restaurant scene that is going through a revitalization right now. Q1227 is going to open in the fall, September, at their new location at the Galleria. I can't say this, Foga de Chao is repurposing Mimi's. Fleming Steakhouse, Shelley's and my favorite in Pasadena, is going into the old Pier 1. There is a Telerife. See, audience participation is always welcome. In the old California Pizza Kitchen. And so, the food scene in Roseville, I had dinner at Randy Peters the other night. Chef Eric was the best. I think we're up to 9 on the over. Okay. And I personally look forward to the groundbreaking, as a lot of folks do, to several other new businesses, such as the new Costco at Baseline Marketplace, which will begin construction soon and is estimated to open in late 2025. This and other businesses will bring much needed retail to West Roseville and an estimated $7 million in annual sales tax revenue to the city. Other upcoming projects include Erickson's Senior Living Facility. Imagine Del Webb goes vertical. And it's a self-contained facility. Sprinter Roseville, and then 5 hotels, some along Conference Center Drive. All these are still in the construction planning process. They're a testament to our city's desirability as a destination. While new growth and new business attraction is a huge goal, so is the expansion of existing businesses. You thought I was going to forget this one. The Vice Mayor and I had an opportunity in February to join the Greater Sacramento Economic Council on a tour. Well, a tour? Was it a tour? It was pretty. 5 days, 25 visits to Germany-based companies. One of those being the opportunity to see Bosch's fab facility outside of Stuttgart and Reutlinger. They are busy right now. They acquired the Roseville-based TSI Semiconductors, and they're busy right now retooling that fabrication so they can build semiconductors for electric vehicles. Roseville's desirability, and I want to underscore that word because it is desirable, as a place to do business remains strong internationally. That Bosch investment means $1.5 billion, a $1.5 billion investment in the city. It'll transform that current site, as I said, to produce semiconductors, 200 millimeter wafers for electric vehicles. It's an important product to have manufactured here on U.S. soil. All right, Kim, this is the time. And my friends at Sutter. In our growing healthcare sector, Sutter Health and Kaiser Permanente are both expanding their footprints. Sutter is adding a building for its new residency program and recently built a new parking garage. Kaiser has just announced its plans to build a $10 million advanced operating room. That tower crane you may see in the distance is Kaiser beginning work on the new 6-story inpatient tower. This will make Kaiser the largest hospital in Placer County. But not to pick favorites, between the two hospitals, Sutter and Kaiser, Roseville will maintain its distinction as one of the most popular birthplaces for new Californians. We continue to attract new businesses. I mentioned I met 4 of them this morning. We're committed to our priority to invest in well-planned infrastructure and growth. We continue to attract, here it is. Here it is, Megan. That's number 11 off script. Okay, give me a second, folks. We continue to attract, get on mic, Bruce. We continue to attract new residents who want to call Roseville their home, too. Anyone who's traveled to the west part of the city can see the growth that occurred from from the pandemic-fueled acceleration. What we're experiencing now is a slower, more normal pace of growth, around 800 units a year. Infrastructure is key to supporting the community we have as it grows. We're widening Pleasant Grove Boulevard, continuing water resiliency investments, near and dear to my heart, improving our gateway and entry corridors, reconfiguring key intersections, and timing traffic signals, and increasing our electric utility capacity. In fact, you might have seen on the front page of the Sacramento Bee this week a story touting Roseville's electric competitive rates and reliability. So let's give a shout out to Roseville Electric. Not quite sure how that got there, but it was great. Our efforts to widen Baseline Road to 4 lanes have improved traffic flow and enhanced public safety response times. It also allows for the first connection through Sierra Vista to the West Roseville specific plan. This creates more connectivity in our city and increases ease of travel for residents and local commuters. I'm happy to say, I don't think that's actually right, but I'm happy to say the Roseville Parkway extension is another transportation project. Why am I not happy to say? It will come right, it will connect and folks will come right past our backyard there in Summerhill, adding to the options for east-west connection in our city. We've completed the Pleasant Grove wastewater treatment expansion, which increases the treatment capacity and helps generate renewable gas power to power our refuse truck fleet. In addition to the renewed agreement with the Placer County Water Agency and Roseville in 2023, Roseville received an $8 million grant from the California Natural Resources Agency and Department of Water Resources for 2 new groundwater wells. As part of Roseville's aquifer storage and recovery, I should be able to say that, ASR program, 2 ASR wells are being constructed in central and western Roseville and were dedicated in 2024. Investing in ASR infrastructure helps Roseville manage water in a sustainable way that fits with how our city's water works. With ample rain and snowfall in 2023, Roseville banked enough water to supply more than 6,000 homes. There we go. That's impressive. That's water resiliency right there. Along with growth in our city, we're seeing more growth around us. It's exciting to see the Sac State and Sierra College camp signed an agreement to create a communiversity just north of Roseville in an area called Placer One that broke ground last year. The plans are another example of an overnight success, a quarter century in the making, and will strengthen the regional ecosystem for workforce development. We've been engaged in discussions with Placer County for years about development on the city's borders, which includes Placer Vineyards south of the city limits and another university campus west of the city. While growth brings opportunities, it will also increase demand for city services and intensify impacts on our infrastructure by non-Roseville residents. We'll continue to work with Placer County to find opportunities and solutions as development continues. Traffic concerns often come up in South Placer County. While the plans to get ahead of this have been in place, the funding has not. The problem has many causes, and it is time to break the bottleneck. Competitive funding and I want to thank my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors who've been working on the Placer Baseline, Riego Road solution set. But I want to talk about competitive funding programs that now require local funding matches are a real thing. So how do we break the bottleneck of congestion? An option that's been in the works for more than a decade will require voter approval. In November, voters will have the opportunity, again, to break that bottleneck by supporting Measure B, a half-cent transportation sales measure in South Placer. I want to go off script, number 12, I think it is. 60% of that sales tax revenue is from outside of Placer County. So we need to capture that sales tax because they're using our roads, and my colleague from Durham comes down and was at the Galleria, and she ran into a lot of our other colleagues from, or a lot of her other neighbors from Durham. So we have a huge capture. Not only Roseville, in the next 30 years, we'll raise $1.5 billion in sales tax revenue from Roseville, Rockland, Lincoln, and South Placer County that attracts, as I said, folks from as far away as Chico, the Bay Area, and Reno. Traffic congestions on our highways and surface streets are greater today than they were in 2016, the last time a transportation measure was considered. Another important priority is support of community engagement and advocacy. And I'll highlight how we're doing that in the area of housing. Roseville is an overachiever when it comes to affordable housing, and has been for a while. The Roseville Housing Authority will celebrate its 50th anniversary this year. As you know, the housing crisis, and may have experienced, the housing crisis in California and nationally is dire. Roseville's general plan requires a 10% commitment to affordable housing. We have affordable housing available throughout our city so that folks like my son who works at the Nugget on Blue Oaks can afford to live on his own instead of paying $4,000 a month with 3 other folks. And this is included in our newest residential development. And here's why I say Roseville is an overachiever in affordable housing. Some of that affordable housing is senior affordable housing on the west side. And and that just warms my heart that those folks who are seniors can have an option that is, have more options for housing. And Roseville is the first to be designated as a pro-housing city. And that makes us competitive for state and federal funding and could accelerate timelines for future projects. The California Housing and Community Development Department awarded Roseville $3.9 million in matching funds to help support development of affordable housing, affordable rental housing. To date, nearly 4,000 affordable units for rent or purchase have been developed, and with another 2,500 units in the pipeline over the next few years. And as I mentioned, a significant number are senior affordable housing. It's helpful to know when we're talking, and I used this factoid with my neighbors yesterday, when we're talking about low income, in 2024, a household with an annual income of approximately $90,000 in Roseville was considered lower income, which itself speaks to the magnitude of the problem, of the issue. The Housing Authority created a landlord incentive program to ensure more available units for those holding housing choice vouchers and to mitigate durations of homelessness. So far, we've recruited 30 new landlords, and through city partner development in tandem with our growth, we continue to be a leader in providing affordable housing units. And many veterans are housed in these programs. I'm proud to recognize, I'm proud Roseville recognizes our veterans. My father, my father-in-law were both Army veterans, serving in country in Korea and Vietnam. Those veterans and family members of veterans here today, please raise your hands. Thank you for your commitment to our country and for your dedication. And last year, working with the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Roseville became the first city in Placer County to be designated as a Purple Heart city. Nearly a year ago, we dedicated Nicole G. Drive here in the city of Roseville to honor Marine Sergeant Nicole G., an Oakmont High School graduate who was tragically killed in a terrorist attack 3 years ago as she assisted women and children evacuating the airport in Afghanistan. Our wall of honor outside the Roseville Telephone Company recognizes Roseville veterans from all wars for their contributions. We are humbled and grateful. Finally, at the core of why Roseville continues to attract new businesses and residents is our ongoing commitment to delivering exceptional services. Our city employees, many of them who gave their seats to stand up here, are a true testament to this commitment. They're dedicated people. They are just not here for the job, they're here for the passion of keeping Roseville on track. Many of them are residents themselves. As a city, we're committed to being an employer of choice, which helps us continue to attract top-notch professionals who exemplify our core competencies. We've hosted neighborhood cleanups with Arcona and drug take-back programs, where we've collected more than 260,000 pounds of waste and 2,000 pounds of unwanted and expired medication, both contributing to a safe and healthier environment. We prioritize transparency, having added resources. Gotta find my phone. Having added resources, data, and information to our open Roseville website so that our community can easily find information on projects, our spending, and our performance. And we also launched the My Roseville app 10 months ago, where residents can submit service requests and ask questions. 10,000 people have already downloaded the app. For the third year in a row, our Parks, Recreation, and Libraries Department is a finalist for the prestigious National Gold Medal for Excellence in Park and Recreation Management. They're going to win it this year because I did a little video with John Walsh. I think this third time's charmed. I think that's it. I think that's 14. Okay, off a script. We are one of the 4 finalists in our population bracket to be recognized for planning, resource management, volunteerism, and environmental stewardship. And although the successes I mentioned in my short time here, it was short, right? At the podium may seem like a lot, it's only a small representation of the daily successes we've experienced under the support of our dedicated leadership. I want to thank our city manager, Dom Casey, and our city staff. And our city staff. Who continue to provide unmatched city services, keeping a constant eye on public safety, our utilities, roads, parks, and libraries, cybersecurity threats, and the economy, ensuring our community knows what's happening, advocating for us at the state and nation's capital, engaging in meaningful ways, and protecting our finances to help keep us economically stable. You care, and it shows. And finally, thank you to the Roseville Chamber of Commerce for hosting the event and for continuing to connect and strengthen our business community and our city. It's obvious why you're a 5-star accredited chamber, and I have no doubt that you'd be rated 10 stars if that was such a thing. It was, I'm told, 115 years ago that the chamber traveled to San Francisco to meet with the railroad to reassure them that incorporation would be a partnership and not a hindrance to their operation. So that partnership continues to this day. And finally, thank you to each and every one of you here today. You represent businesses and companies, neighborhood associations, schools, nonprofits, and our partners in regional government. You continue to show up to do the important work that helps us thrive, and I'm grateful for what you do. As this year's State of the City address comes to a close, I want to recognize the people throughout our community who model decorum and civility every day. You instill trust. The future of our city is great because of our residents, because of our staff, because of our businesses who choose to build here, and because of our collective ability to work together to keep our vision on track. And with that, I'll say full steam ahead as we remember those whose shoulders we stand on and look to the future. And in honor of Aldo Panesi, the English beat will close us out. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for coming.